Tiesto must really, really, really be scraping the barrel if this is what he's got to resort to. What a banger. Good morning, boys and girls. Welcome in, welcome in. Of course, Team YouTube, it does not have the luxury of the tunes. But just know, they were crazy. Welcome in, welcome in. Seems a bit unfair to bring a bow to a fist fight. That's where the masses... That's where the masses can, the masses need to do their thing, gang up on you. Right, let's have a little looky what's going on, shall we? Let's turn the tunes down just a touch. We're a week away from 11.1. Week away, 7 days to go till the first major content patch of The War Within. The first major content patch that is bringing as close to zero as I think they could possibly get away with in terms of updates for 11.1, but it's fine, Let's see if there's anything going on the old WoW heads this morning. Let's have a little looky. What we got going on down here. 7 days, 10 hours until the new patch launches. Of course, us in, it takes a little bit longer for Team EU to get them. Plunderstorm also ends at a similar time, so if you haven't done your Plunderstorm stuff, maybe have a little bit of a look at getting that blasted. Any news? Undermined official interview. The War Within Season 2 Liberation of Undermine Raid drive system. Blizzard has published their official 11.1 Undermined overview video in collaboration with Mr. GM. The video briefly overviews all the features found in the patch and coming in Season 2. I had a sneaky suspicion he was doing this. Fair play to the lad. Fair play. He's been wanting to do an official World of Warcraft video for a while. Fair play. He's worked hard for it. We'll have a little of a watch of that later, I reckon. So I'm sure there's a few people that wouldn't mind paying attention. This is such a cool graphic, Explosive new content, sure. Oh, so this is... Oh, okay. This is literally just links to all of Wowhead's so far. Guides and updates for it all. I see. That'll be a handy article to keep track of. Last wave of the London tickets for the 30th anniversary celebration go on sale tomorrow, also known as today. I believe, also known as today at 3 p.m. Unfortunately, getting to the UK for me is a little bit more expensive with hotels and flights. So unfortunately not something I'm going to be attending. Not this year at least anyway. Last chance to obtain Zekvir Delve rewards. These are going away on March the 4th. Oh, do we want to... I've killed him on single question mark. I don't know if I'm bothered killing him on double question mark. We probably could if I tried, but last day of Lovers in the Air, that's already gone. Yeah, well, that's a bit light on the old news front by the looks of things, to be understood. Let's dive in then and have a little bit of a look what's going on. I wish I was hyped at all about the patch. I kind of half agree with you. It's really difficult from my direction of play to get super excited about it because the vast majority of what I enjoy doing in the game isn't really going to change all that much. Of course, we have the new zone to play through, but the zone's, the zone is fine. Aesthetically, I like the zone a lot. It looks really cool. That little... I want to jump on the PTR again, and have a little look at that sort of like scrap rummaging kind of minigame to use a phrase. I wonder if they've made any improvements to that thing or whether it is still just a 5-minute AFK simulator whilst a number ticks up. I'm hoping they have changed that in some way because it was poor. The Sand Fishing World Quest is up in Voldun for anybody still working on the meta. Sand Fishing World Quest. These ones that are... No, wait, hang on, where are we going? These ones that are linked in somewhat to the meta, worth paying attention to. Sand fishing. Is this one? How and what's this linked to? How and what's this linked to? I'm sure I should know by now, but I appreciate the heads up anyway. I'm distracted by Satisfactory. Created my second coal energy plant last night. Satisfactory is so fun. When you get into it, you can just sort of like tunnel vision it, and it's so fun. I really enjoyed our time in Satisfactory. That's not to say our time is finished. It's just, you know, my priority is still World of Warcraft. So it's the Adept Sandfisher achieve. Adept Sandfisher. Collect each of the sand worm scales listed below from sand fishing in Voldun. Load guide. Let's get it on. Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's do it. Good old Zygor coming to the rescue on this as well. Love to see it. You know what we don't have if we're streaming WoW, it would make sense for me to a little bit to shield the old Zygor offer, because every penny helps. Portal to Zoldazar. Just hop in a raid group, then fish them all until you have them all. Is that how you do it? Okay. You've stolen the Flight Master.
And which lower do you bargain with?
Why are we going to this one and not this one? I'm going to that one. This is a good opportunity, I suppose, to log on the second account. Watched a couple of people play the PTR and it was okay. Well, maybe I'll play that at some point, but there's no burning. Oh my god, I can't wait. Yeah, I agree. It's a cool new zone and it offers new zone stuff. You know, a little bit of a new storyline, a little bit of new world quests, some rares to kill, some things to collect for sure. The new zones I tend to feel are meant to be complementary to whatever else is going on. For everybody else, of course, there's a new Mythic Plus rotation. There's a new raid to consume. But, of course, since my main focus on... my main drive in this game is, like, the professions and the economy and crafting and that sort of stuff, with there being so little, it's it doesn't feel like you should want to have to force. It shouldn't feel like you need to force excitement when a new patch comes. The new zone, like I said, the new zone and stuff looks cool. There's just not anything that's tailored specific to my preferred avenue of play. We will absolutely smash the pants off it for a couple of weeks, though. There's plenty to do in the new zone, I reckon. Storyline and questing. I don't know how they're going to do the storyline in it this time round. I really, really hope they don't choose to time gate it week on week. I haven't seen much sort of speculation on this. We were able to play test through all of the campaign in the new zone on the PTR. But of course, it's very common for them to then chunk it up and say, you can do this much this week, and then you can do that much the week after. I kind of hope they don't do that, but knowing Blizzard, they absolutely will. We'll watch that Mr. GM video in a little bit. We'll get this world quest done out of the way, if this is part of the meta achievement, and we'll then go and have a little bit of a look. Got to get some coffee in me. Looking forward more to the Kalimdor Cup. Oh, yeah, Kalimdor Cup comes back round again, isn't it? I think I did most, if not all of that last time, though. There's a good chance I did. Right, let's make this a raid. That way we can't accidentally over-finish the world quest. Whoa, what's going on there?
Sandworms are savage predators that lurk beneath the dunes. They're dangerous, but their fangs are valuable.
Use the sand fishing ability around the area. It appears as a loot button. Oh. I've legitimately never done this. Are these things skinnable? Not that it makes a huge difference in these day and ages, but... Was this like a big skinning thing back in the day? Oh look, somebody wants to be banned. Love to see it. Loot an onyx sandwell scale, a ruby, an emerald, a silver, and a cobalt. Look at the carnage. I don't seem to be able to loot any of these. Onyx sandworm scale again. Any speculation? Oh, okay, we got a cobalt one now. Ah, I see how this works. Silver, 2 to go. Easy business. People like this sucks. How are we doing, Loot Fever? Welcome in. We are currently doing one of the achievements, the Adept Sandfisher achievement. For those who are working on the BFA meta, this is part of it. Requires a world quest to be up to do it, and it's currently up. Somebody wants a ring. Looking for craft 1.5 ring of what? What do you mean 1.5? Somebody else can do that. I'm not close to home. Right, we need an emerald and a ruby one. Oh, ruby one. Just an emerald one to go. Come on. Oh wait, did I just pick up the ruby one? Oh, I did. That's the emerald one I need. Pew. An emerald sand sworn drake. I tell you what, I was talking a little bit more about this yesterday. I was lurking for a while in K-Chak's stream. And material prices are going absolutely bonkers at the moment. It's so fun to see. It's so fun to watch because the pattern seems to repeat itself every time. And I'm seeing a huge amount of people who are like clearly coming back to the game because 11.1 comes out next week. And this is no, you know, no shade on them in any way, shape or form, but they're asking like, oh, what materials should I buy? What's going to go up in the next patch? And I'm like, the materials are already up. The materials are at up mode. They're in up mode now. I actually suspect that most materials are kind of at their, I wouldn't say peak, but they're definitely up 20, 30, 40, 50% to what they were a few weeks ago. So we're already seeing one spike in the price of materials, clearly because there's some heavy goblin activity going on. Enchants, I was taking a little bit of a look at enchants. Enchants are going mental, like actually bonkers. There we go, Adept Sandfisher. Beautiful. Beautiful. Stunning work. By the peak. Yeah, what I sense is going to happen now is we're at that sort of peak of material prices. Everybody will be buying a whole bunch of stuff now, expecting it to double next week. Next week will happen. It won't double. Everybody will dump what they bought this week to try and recuperate their costs and hopefully not lose their ass. Which will cause a bunch of stuff to crash even lower down than what it is right now, because as we historically know, the first week of the patch isn't really that great for material prices, because everybody's still, to this day, everybody assumes that, oh, it's a new patch, everybody will want everything. Not really. Those that need a lot of stuff have already bought it, and those that are just casually buying aren't casually buying yet because the raid hasn't launched. People only casually buy once they get new gear. That's the ticket to all. The ticket to all reasons why most people spend gold is have they recently acquired a new piece of gear that's interesting and important and worth spending gold on it. So you dumped all your mats on the auction house and told the returning people to buy now that stuff's cheap. Well, I mean, if I was a little bit more shady, I would do exactly that. But I've been quite public about the fact that I've bought a bunch of materials and I've actually sold most of them as well. It's difficult to tell because flipping TSM still isn't tracking stuff properly. But I have shifted most of the mats that I had stocked previously. Sold most of my gleaming shards, sold a lot of my storm dust, a bunch of my herbs, a bunch of my null stones I've already shifted. I even sold a bunch of crystallized augment runes when the price was good. Null stones are actually up even further than what I sold mine out at. I sold mine at about 200. They're now up to like 240. If I'd have waited, I'd have potentially made a little bit more there. But I bought them at 150. So, you know, I was good taking 50 gold profit on each one. TSM doesn't do a great job of tracking all of this. but we had sold some stuff. What's Stormdust doing today? Stormdust is competitively priced still, by the looks of things. $23, 24 gold. We'll have a play at some of that. 23, 24 gold is 10 gold profit per. Pretty much doubling my money on that. Pretty much double bubble on that. Crushed gemstones are slightly up based upon what I paid, but not by much yet. This will kick in when the price, the price of crushed gemstones will rise dramatically once the price of all the ore goes up as well. But yeah, I've oh, I didn't mean to actually take all of that. Whoops. Well, now I have it. Yeah, the reality is the 8 million gold worth, or the rough 8 million gold worth of stuff has already mostly been sold. There's a chance that next week, when the raid launches, the patch launches, that I might dip in and buy some more. But I'm not. It's now at the point where it's risky. It wasn't risky when I did it last time, because there was absolutely no way in my mind that the prices weren't absolutely tanked into the ground. So it was a relatively safe bet 6 weeks ago, whenever it was I bought those mats. Any fun stuff? Any fun stuff? Let's get a few of these done. No, 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 no. That's for 2 knowledge points. It's only 50 gold per knowledge point. Okay, we've got a bunch of expireds from yesterday. Let's take those first. Inventory be full. Inventory be full. Jewel crafting, leatherworking, go. There'll come a point where I'll offload all of the selling onto my bank character. I'm only selling on my individual characters right now just because it's a little bit easier to micromanage and just check that all my new groups and operations and stuff are working sort of as I would expect them to. There's quite a bunch of stuff going out at normal price, which intrigues me. Almost as if I have a waylaid ignore low value. Oh, that's not meant to be on this one. That's not meant to be on this one. That's meant to be if it goes below normal. If it goes below my minimum. If it goes below the minimum. Okay, maybe in this scenario we do actually tell it to post at normal. If it goes below my minimum. Now you know what? We are going to ignore auctions below minimum. If people are selling shit out too cheap, then that's on them. If everybody's selling out at too cheap, I'll post mine at normal and wait for things to fix themselves. Maybe that is how I want to deal with it. I swear that was going da-ding in the background a minute ago. As ludicrous as it sounds to be posting this sort of stuff at the prices I am, I don't think it makes a huge difference. If one of them sells, it, you know, covers the cost of listing it 500 times. How much have you invested for 11.1? I've gone pretty low. I've already been in and I'm already mostly out. I spent about 8 million gold and I've already made about 10.
Higher Thusday says, define normal in World of Warcraft auction posting. Ah, my dear adventurer, in the world of Warcraft auction posting, normal simply means the typical or average price at which an item is listed for sale. Happy bidding, and may your gold purse overflow.
Stanley, that's not right. In TSM language, normal means the price that it gets posted at if nobody else is posting it. Yeah, normal does actually mean overpriced. Yeah. Right, let's see if there's anything worth crafting today. Let's do recipe scan. Let's do it minus concentration. See if any of the materials are worth paying attention to. Nope. Nothing's worth paying attention to. Not a dime. Leatherworking's so broken. So broken. Carapace backed hides. Now see, there is maybe... No, see, even these aren't. With current prices. Yeah. These flipping bone shards are the most costly thing in this, which is pretty outrageous. These have gone up recently as well, which is partly the problem. Okay, nothing for leatherworking. Let's go have a little look at jewel crafting. Yoink. Let's do recipe scan for jewel crafting. We've already got one of these on the auction house. We've already got a bunch of deadly rubies listed, by the looks of things at least. Verse ambers. These seem relatively pointless listing, but we've got one on the auction house. Shifted cave sands. How many of these do we sell roughly? Only 100 a day. Make a few of those. Magnificent jewelers settings. These are 40 gold profit if you craft enough of them to hit the marginal averages. 4% doesn't really excite me, but should we do like a batch of 20 of those just for fun? If we do a batch of 20 of those just to see if we, you know, get lucky on procs today. 1% don't appeal to me. Okay, yeah, nothing else there that really makes sense. Buying those null stones back at a premium is probably half the issue. Let's give it a go. Let's see if we get lucky on procs. You never know. A couple of juicy multi-crafts could fix the whole thing. Shifted cave sands. Let's get a few of these made. And then magnificent jewelers settings. Let's do some gamba on these. Do 20 crafts. Let's see if we can come out ahead. We need a few juicy multi-crafts. There's one. It's not looking good. It's not looking good. We need those multi-crafts. There's one. We need those multi-crafts. Oh, never lucky. Never finish on a losing streak, but whatever. You win some, you lose some. Today we lose some. Okay, all right, let's get that lot listed. Okay, go gadget go. We got some knowledge points out of all of that, I think. A few knowledge points to spend. What do we need? I'm gonna fill this one out first. I don't necessarily need this character to do prospecting, so I know I was putting points down here to begin with, but I'll fill these top nodes out first because it'll just be more useful for these intermediates. We'll unlock glasswork first, it doesn't really matter. Leatherworking. Oh, we're 2 points short of finishing this tree. 2 points short. At that point, we'll have learn leatherworking done. Flawless fortes done. And we'll have got the first 2 tiers of the mail done as well. You know, I can then start designating points to making the gear. Got any first time crafts? I can't believe that we're 2 points away. No, not really any first time crafts either. I have these recipes, but I can't necessarily advertised to be able to craft them particularly well yet. Mostly because I can't actually make them at Q5. Which, if I can't make them at Q5, it's kind of pointless because everybody wants them at Q5. I don't have any Q3 Gloom Chitin either, and even that's gone up in price recently. Holy. Alright, well, we're selling a few things. Ta-da! We're selling our Magnificent Jeweler settings pretty fast still. Turnover on these is outrageous. As long as you don't craft massive amounts of them. Alright, that's this dude done. All minus picking up 2 treasures for leatherwork in that we ain't doing that. We're not that desperate for points. Ha! They're the 2 oh god, they're the 2 points I actually need, isn't it? They're the 2 points I need to finish that tree. Well, maybe next time. Maybe next time. Let's move on to the next tune. I'm thinking I'm going to have to install that journalator to be able to track things more effectively. Since I'm at a point now where, unfortunately, I don't know for whatever reason, but my TSM does not seem to track all of its sales, and there doesn't seem to be anything I can do to make it track the sales either. I don't know where the bug is to try and self-solve it. I've reported it to the TSM guys, they're aware of it. What we got in here then? Bunch of expireds to begin with. Bunch of expireds and then 25k of sales. The desire of not doing treasures beats the OCD of needing the 2 points. It absolutely does, yeah. Absolutely does. 100%. Right, let's start with tailoring. Anything spicy on the tailoring front? Think about all that wax you're missing. Yeah, I'd rather just not have it. Do I need the artisan security that badly? Nah. Wax will be needed when ATT days come round. Why does ATT care about wax? Isn't wax just material boxes? When converted, mostly. Is there something I'm missing? Does it drop random mogs or something? Gives Valor Stones a max level. Oh, I couldn't care less about Valor Stones. Glob of wax for valid turn-ins has not been reset or made useless yet on the PTR. Yeah, people were asking about this yesterday. I'm not sure what they're going to do with that. My take on it is that I don't know if it really matters that much because at the end of the day, Valor Stones are kind of farmable anyway. It's a time sink to do it, sure, but it's crests that are fundamentally the bottleneck for players, not necessarily Valor Stones. It's annoying probably early season just not having enough Valor Stones and having to farm the damn things, but it's always crests that are the bottleneck. So in that sense, I'm not too sure if they'll do anything about it. But yeah, we'll see. Dusk thread linings? Oh, they've been reset, that's why. What's their more average going rate? 300 to 400 gold. I need to do my Duskweave Bolt cooldowns. Bags, should we make a bunch of bags? Are these going at a reasonable rate right now? They're up technically right now. Dawn thread lining at Q3 are also up right now. Sunset spell threads at Q2 have been reset, so they're not usually that valuable. Weaver cloth bags are up. Might as well make a bunch of those. Duskweave reagent bags. No reason not to have a couple of those. Right, that'll do. Let's grab a shopping list. Legit asking me to buy spools and weaver cloth bolts. Oh, it's because you want weaver cloth bolts at Q1? You don't need that many of them, so I'll let you off. Spools of dawn thread. Can I just not be unraveling some dawn thread instead? Unraveling some dawn thread might be a better option here. How many do we need? 60, 19, and then 30 the top tier ones. I should probably just unravel some dawn thread and dusk thread. Wait, why is Duskweave like 75 gold a piece these days? Wait, hold on. What? These Duskweave and Dawn, like these, even these mats are going through the roof. Jesus. Holy moly. Probably because weaver cloth by itself is part of the thaumaturgy shuffle, whereas these are not, so these get expensive. Cloth is up in price. The number one suspect is a guy in Denmark. Hella sus. But I don't know if that was what we needed. Let's see what goes on here. Weaver cloth enchanters hats. Potential money in those. Make a few of those. Dusk thread linings needs procs for it to go big. Dustweave bags. Dustweave bags are here claiming not to be worth, but yeah, you need some pretty juicy, pretty big old juicy procs on those to make it worth. Oh, hang on, we're out of mats. Now we are out of mats again. What are we actually missing? Let's just buy them now. What are we missing? Oh, hang on. Did I not loot this from the mailbox? It's probably more likely to be the case, isn't it? Making this random stuff at like Q3 is really odd. It's clearly the fact that these items are just not represented on the auction house at all. And so it'll give me the opportunity to list it at normal and just pray for like a ridiculously big sale on something for no reason whatsoever. Why am I now out of mats again? Why is my shopping list now saying empty? What's going on here? Oh. It's having a heart attack for some reason. This is the number that makes the difference though. As long as we can keep that number relatively juicy without too much issue. Now, admittedly, there's the next stage of the problem, which is selling it all, but if you don't craft it, you don't sell it, right? That's the theory. And the more I play with the crafting professions, the more I lean into the fact that if you are not crafting stuff, you're not proccing stuff. If you're not giving yourself the chance to be lucky, you never will. Oh, there's a good chance actually a lot of this is not in groups. But yeah, if you don't give yourself the chance to be lucky, you never will. So maybe crafting a bunch and listing a bunch is like at least buying that lottery ticket. You can't win it if you don't enter. Clearly a lot of stuff that's not in groups, which is weird. Oh, my Duskreath bag operation, for example, is only actually set to list 3 of them. That's probably why. Where I made slightly more than what TSM would under normal circumstances decide to list. No, 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 don't equip it, you donut. Low level stuff is probably not grouped up, but we can put it in these groups. So what have we got? Pioneer gear. That's regular garments, but it's going to be lower level stuff. Make sure it's by item level. Put you lot in there. Fishing cap is a profession accessory at lower level. Add that in there. Algari competitor's cloak at lower level. Put you in there as well. Here we go again. Burnt rolling pins are still not listing. What's the situation with burnt rolling pins? Let's have a little bit of a look manually. Ha! Okay, there's only one other auction for 13,000 gold. That's completely thrown my TSM operations into a fit. That would be why. These at 550. Yeah, there's literally only one dude posting them at 550, so we'll put those in there manually for now. You would argue it makes absolutely no sense posting these at 13k a piece when you can get higher quality ones for 400 gold each. But you'd be amazed. You'd be amazed. Logic is not necessarily something that applies to the auction house all the time. That's a very small amount of bags, to be fair. Do people just not buy bags anymore? Probably not 2,000 gold a piece bags. I'll throw them in there anyway. Is there any way to add value to Acuity plus the map bags you get from working orders? Add value to the Acuity. I would suspect most people are still in a position where they need their Acuity for something. But outside of you can always spend it on the 600 Acuity bags if you've really got nothing to spend it on. But I tend to think that most people claim that they have no use for it, when actually if they looked, they probably still have a lot of use for it. Until you've got all of the recipes and at least 3 tools, you probably still have use for Artisan's Acuity. I know there's lots of people that have got it stocked up, but there's always lots and lots of things you can do with it still. Still this early in the expansion. I know there are people out there that do just have boatloads of the stuff because they're hardcore goblins day in, day out, but most people I don't think should be spending it or wasting it any much. Oh, you're actually looking to add a monetary value to the bags when doing Craft Sim. Craft Sim's never calculated an average price for those bags. If you have a number in mind, you can just keep that in your head and just add that number on to any of the Craft Sims patron orders. I don't think you get much more than an average of about 20 to 30 gold per bag. But there's not really a huge amount of data out there to determine what an average price per bag even is. And so because of that, you should probably just consider it a bonus. The bags should be considered a bonus. You shouldn't try and calculate the value of them in, because an average on those things could be wildly different. You could get 300 golden mats out of one bag and like 2 gold of mats out of another bag. They're totally different. They're totally random. Stuff like that that's really hard to actually lock down a concrete value to it, it's best just to ignore it. Just consider it a bonus. If you get them, great, it's a bonus, but don't try and build it into the calculations. Because the data's not good enough, I guess. Some guy on the WoW Economy subreddit did a huge bag opening and calculated a reliable value. I think he did a few thousand bags. But I always see people track not what they get out of the bags, but what the bags were worth, which then that means that that data is basically invalid the next day when the materials change in price. You want to know on average how many materials, what is the average, you know, what is the materials that come out. I doubt the data would have tracked that, because of course materials change price by the minute. You want to know that one bag is like 0.001 microbloom, 0.001 microbloom rank 2. You know, that's what you need to know. But yeah, I mean, if somebody's got the data, great. But like I said, I also probably would go as far as to say that if your profitability revolves around that bonus bag, you're cutting it too fine. In that case, you're cutting it too fine. You're clutching at straws to try and make profits here. You're dealing with sub 1% margins if you're worried too much about whether that bag is going to make it profitable or not to do. Like I said, something like that that's so wildly different in value each time you open one, you are best off just ignoring it. Don't try and build it into the equation. So, in that regards, I kind of agree that CraftSim has never bothered to try. Wow, there's some stinky work orders. Stinky work orders, and I have no mats for any of these, apparently. Do I not even have... Oh, I don't have any... Oh, okay, that's why. It's because I've kind of got into the habit of selling my mats as well at the end of these little adventures, rather than throwing everything in the war bank. Maybe I need a bunch of ciphers crafted. What's the value of ciphers looking like right now? Not particularly healthy. Is there any profitability in either milling, inks? Is this dude set up to do all of this? Is he set up to be good everywhere? Yes. All that being, he might not have... No, I've only got one tool on this dude. My other guy can do both milling, ink crafting, and the whole shebang. Maybe I need to make another couple of silver tongue quills. Do I have much in terms of artisan security? 1,000 on this dude. I at least am going to need a resourcefulness one, aren't I, for when we do milling. Because having a full stacked multi-craft one doesn't make much sense. So let's make another silver tongued quill. Who makes these things? Oh, scribes make these themselves. Do I even have the recipe? No. I do, but probably not on this dude. Silver tongue quill. Who's going to have this recipe then? Somebody's got it. Somebody's got it. Well, let's get some mats and then I'll figure out who's got the recipe. Viridescent spores, codified greenwoods, and boundless ciphers. We also need tool, Enchant tool, we're doing full resourcefulness. And we're doing missive of resourcefulness. Hello? Somebody's done a reset on these. I'm quite sure it's my other scribe that can make this, so I'm just going to slam in a cheeky quick guild order so my alt can pick it up.
I have calibrated my prices to be reasonable.
Profession equipment, inscription, tools, silver tongues.
Return and peruse.
Alright, who's got this? Who's got this? Who's got this? Who's got this? Probably Bezo Bucks. How we doing, Woo? Welcome in. Good morning, good morning. Did I not do a Discord ping? I must have forgot. Did I not do a Discord ping? I was busy making coffee. This is one of those things that I really should just get a bot to do it. Wait, what? Oh. Oh, can I not do these properly? Ooh. Why does it say it came through with not the right amount of codified greenwoods? Why is that a thing? I definitely provided the 5 top tier ones on that. Flip's sake. Why won't it let me change those? Even though I've tagged to use best quality materials. Why are you being a dick, game? Why are you being a dick? Accept the order. Ticking this box is meant to override these with the ones I have in my... Ah, you're just being a dick, game. Alright. Alright, fine. Fine. I swear I put the right codifieds in there in the first place. I also didn't realise that I need to use concentration to make this, but whatever. No, 3 of them are still here then. Okay, something clearly went wrong with that.
My directive is to
That's
serve
clearly
you.
my bad then. Place order.
My
Oh, I'm going to need to get
thanks
those
for
mats
your
out of the
patience.
bag now.
I have an extended supply of goods for Outlanders.
Profession equipment, inscription, tools. top tier ones. Let's check that those are not funky donkeyed as well. Right, let's try again.
My directive has been...
Let's try again. I'm out of coffee. I have a worry, you know. I think my apple juice might be turning into cider. I don't think apple juice is meant to bubble. Still smells appley. Still tastes alright. It's fine. If I start getting loopy midway through the stream, let me know. Worst case, drunk stream. Yeah. What could possibly go wrong? What could possibly go wrong? Okay, I now at least feel like my scribe is up to speed with tools, having a resourcefulness and a multi-craft tool. That means we can actually do milling without... Well, we can self-sustain, we can buy herbs, and we can save ourselves a few 5% here and there. Lag. Frames, game. Give me frames, please. Why does my GPU refuse to go above 30 FPS? Hello? You're not even logged in and you're sat at 60. Why are you being scumbag down to 30 as if you're in the background? I thought for a while that there's something wrong with my graphics card, you know. I wonder if it's because I play on full screen windowed. It shouldn't really, should it? I've got flipping ray tracing on. Turn that shit off. This is World of Warcraft. We don't need ray tracing in World of Warcraft. Max background FPS. Yeah, but we're not in the background, are we, you stupid game? We're in the foreground, you dumb. Alright, let's just close this. Oh, there we go. Instant 60. Oh, now it has no idea what's going on. Whatever. We need an enchant for this. Didn't I buy an enchant for this? I'm convinced I bought an enchant for this. Where's it gone? Is it you? 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 Shit. You? Resourcefulness. Boom. Right, okay. All of that so that I can actually technically do milling myself where necessary. Bring things in-house a little bit to keep the profits in line where they need to be. And I think all of that was because I just wanted to mass produce a bunch of ciphers, assuming that we can do such in a profitable way. Which is easier said than done. What's the price of lure drop doing these days? What's the price of lure drop doing? Lure drop is up about 20%. That is the multi-craft tool. This is the resourcefulness tool. Is it automatically swapping? It is. Good. Do it till you win, do it till you win, do it till you win. We're never winning. Okay, we're never winning. $30 apiece for rank 1 Nacreous pigments. That's hysterical. So funny that people are resetting the prices on those. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. It expects us to lose money doing this, and so far we are not disappointing. We are not disappointing. I was hoping for a little bit of streamer luck there. Where's my distilled fresh water?
Is to serve you.
Buy 5,000 of it, please.
My thanks for your patronage.
If we're doing this, we should probably be popping a bountiful seasons buff to at least give us some hope in hell. Oh shit, why are we using rank? Oh, fuck a duck. Using piss in rank 3s. Okay, well, we've absolutely lost a shitload of gold there, haven't we? That's a dangerous mistake to make. It's because I got the stupid use best flipping... This button, man. This button, I wish they'd just get rid of it. Dangerous, that button. We've all done that. Yeah, luckily I spotted it within 20 seconds. Especially at the speed in which these things bloody craft as well. Holy. Oh well. You win some, you lose some. Now why did you stop? What stopped you? Probably resourcefulness procs. Okay, we're beating the odds right now, but I don't. It's flipping doing it again. Ah, sack of. Right, whatever. Right, I need some juicy multi-craft procs here, please, game. Some juicy multi-craft procs. There we go. 2 in a row. 3. Quit while you're ahead. Quit while you're ahead. Matt's on the market. Let's see how big the profit is. Best of luck. Best of luck. I'd have used a quick hands potion as well, but I'm not crafting so many of them that it makes that much of a difference right now. We're about on average with the amount of multi-crafts we should have had, but we've been on the lucky side of things when it comes to the yield that multi-craft returns. Multi-craft's a weird one, you know. Multi-craft is... The fact that multi-craft is so wacky and so varied is one of the reasons why I've never bothered putting together a proper spreadsheet. I have done some tinkering, and I was actually playing around with it a little bit yesterday, trying to do some smart things in the spreadsheet. But the reality is my spreadsheet skills are not strong enough. While I can do basic maths, okay, well, we at least, you know, we beat the odds on making the ciphers at least. I can do basic maths, but I'm not that much of a whiz when it comes to spreadsheets compared to what some people do with them. You know, some people who actually properly use a spreadsheet to do spreadsheet things. I can do simple this box plus that box divided by that box sort of shit, but I'm by no means a whiz. Because what I've always wanted to do in a spreadsheet is to be able to manipulate multi-craft and resourcefulness values. That means anybody can use the sheet regardless to where their current profession setup is. Just ask AI, dude. It will even tell you the formulas. Yeah, but it's also more of a case of knowing what question you're even asking. That's the thing. You can even just give it your spreadsheet. I suppose, maybe. I definitely don't harness AI much at all, like I probably should. Some of these are half tempting to do, but maybe not today. We've spent enough on inscription already. Let's take a little look while we are at the scribe table if any of the actual base stuff is now worth doing. If we do a recipe scan, well, hang on, cancel that. We're going to want to also optimize profession gear. Now that often causes a little bit of chaos, but we'll do that anyway, just so it's, now that we've got the different tools. This might break the scan or make it really slow, because it's going to ask you to swap out your gear when needed to be able to do certain stuff. You see here, it's telling you to like just straight up take off certain items so that you can make them at lower quality. GPT-5 is going to launch its own WoW goal making channel at this rate. It probably could. Any huge new profession cooldowns with 11.1? I mean, there's basically nothing with 11.1. Basically nothing. I did a little TLDR type thing, and I posted it over on the WoW Economy subreddit a couple of days ago. I can link to that if you're intrigued. A little bit of a, how do you say, like frequently asked questions section. Where's he gone? Yeah, this is kind of that's mostly the goings on for 11.1, roughly summarized. Right, well, some of this stuff we can make. There's no reason not to make some of this stuff if it's got potential profit in it. So let's add one of those to a craft queue. Where is our craft queue? One of those. One of those, one of those, one of those, one of those. Why not? One of those, one of those, one of those. I have a sneaky suspicion I've got a bunch of this already on the auction house and it doesn't know about it. But what are you going to do? One of those, one of those, one of those. Missives. Missives are... Q2 missives are in the realm of profitable right now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, if they happen to be. These flipping burnt rolling pins again. Codified greenwoods are actually profitable at Q3, only because they've had a market reset. Well, if they've had a market reset, we'll have a little look. We'll have a little play. We'll go in for 100 if they're potentially profitable right now. Ciphers are break even, as we just discussed, as we just found out. You technically can make some cash money with ciphers, but you really got to be careful on the numbers. Shadow inks at Q2 are in the realms of profitable, assuming you can get your pigments and stuff on cheap enough. Let's give some shadow inks a bit of a go. Grab some of those. 2 silver a piece. What do they charge for these off the vendor, by the way? Like, they're literally free off the vendor. Yeah, there's still 1.7 million of them on the auction house. That's hysterical. Orbinid pigments at Q2. Blessing Blossom pigments at Q1. We need 500 Orbinid pigments. I might just buy Orbinid instead. Deliberately trying to use rank 1 inks because they're cheaper. We need some shadow inks at Q3. Oh no, I forgot to pick them up the mailbox. No, don't be making me change flipping. There we go. Wrong profession tools. No, that's a lie. Why is it saying that these aren't working? Why does that not work? Tools are right, missing mats. The rank 3 inks. Okay, let's crush down some Orbinid and some Blessing Blossom first then. Orbinid and Blessing Blossom. That's clearly not how you spell it. Reagents, herbs, some Orbinid. And some Blessing Blossom. It's probably roughly what we need. Got resourcefulness seasons thing up and running. Close you for a minute. Where'd it go? Where'd it go? Did I buy it again and not take it out the mailbox? Flipping hell, I do that so often. Thank you for reminding me. I do that literally all the time. Far too hasty to hop off the mail, boy. Right, there's the Blessing Blossom. Did you switch to resourcefulness up here? You did. Flipping out, the crafting speed on this is outrageous. Wow. Craft Sim's expected values on milling could not be further from the truth. Maybe it's because Blessing Blossom Pigment has been reset or something recently. Because we absolutely stonked through that. Oh, yeah, because flipping Blessing Blossom Pigment right now is 50 gold on the auction house. Alright, it'd be half worthwhile just selling the pigments. Not that pigments actually really sell, but let's do the same with the Orbinid. Mill those down. Yeah, no, and nobody out there buying pigments. There's no need to. Literally no need to. What you got to do is figure out the maths between when you've bought the herbs, then milled them, then made them into the inks. Then you can pay attention to the number. So ignore this for now. Alright, now we can do this at Q3. We can blast through a bunch of these. Now let's see if the Shadow Inks actually, if we can win on the Shadow Inks. This is one of the scenarios where I am going to use a Vial of the Quick Hands, otherwise it's going to get slow as hell. Doing the full process is the best value. It's just time consuming. Yeah, that's it. It's always that sort of that trade-off between how much time do you want to spend doing it, and just how much time are you willing to spend doing it, and is the actual added gain by doing that worth you doing? You know, and that's what people have to decide. Will we be able to craft new items next week? That's a very generic question. The amount of new recipes that are turning up in the new patch, I can literally count on this hand. So there'll be, you know, obviously people will be able to, there'll be new sparks, and that people will be able to upgrade or recraft their existing crafting gear, for example, but inscription is, how do you say it politely, in the drain, no matter what you do with it. the value of materials have so much of a swing on everything these days. And when players are more than content to mess around with single-digit profit margins, there's literally no room to move. And so it ultimately means that there's no real added value by the professions, mostly. Which means when the price of the mats go up by 20%, the price of everything else goes up by 20% as well. And if the price of mats drop by 20%, then the price of everything crafted drops by 20% as well. There's such a strong connection between the two. Why is this randomly stopped again? We're out of fresh waters apparently.
I have calibrated my prices to
Just
be
give me
reasonable.
10,000 of them this time. Because apparently 5 wasn't enough last time.
Return and peruse my inventory again.
No, why are you doing Q2s? We're meant to be doing Q3s. We've had slightly less multi-crafts than we should have done. We've had less we've had slightly more freebies from those multi-crafts though. Resourcefulness procs. We've actually had substantially more resourcefulness procs. We've had over twice as many resourcefulness procs as Craft Sim thinks we should have had. But we've still only actually made about the same amount of gold from materials saved. Which is weird. But we're still on average taking a loss. But that's counteracted by the massive gain that we made on the milling in the first place. So we should still win after crafting all of these. In theory. That is assuming we can sell them. I think I slightly over-purchased on the amount of shadow inks we needed. I think I only needed about 200 shadow inks. Well, we'll have spares to sell. Also means it's going to take me a little bit longer to process them than I expected as well. It'll be fine. So yeah, I had been tinkering around with a few things in been tinkering around with a few things in good old Google Sheets, trying to figure out if I could manipulate a spreadsheet to do what I want it to do. And I was kind of getting there. I do have a template cheat sheet that doesn't really work and I don't really use it, so please ignore most of it. But I have been figuring out how to calculate expected profits with multi-craft and resourcefulness in here. So I took a couple of examples yesterday, just a deadly ruby, quality 3, crystal fused hide, quality 3, taking the current auction house prices and trying to figure out that if I say, oh, well, actually, I don't have 19% multicraft. I'm earlier in my journey, I've only got 15% multicraft, and I've only got 15% resourcefulness. You can see that by changing those, you are still set to make a profit, but obviously you're going to make less. But this means that this works in a very similar way to what Craft Sim does in-game, but just in spreadsheet form. And obviously it means if you also, start changing the prices, like this Deadly Ruby Q3, for example, massive loss on these. But let's say, for whatever reason, you were getting your crushed gemstones at 50 gold a piece, well then all of a sudden you are actually set to look at making a bit of a profit on it. So I figured out that you can pretty much, you can configure things without too much difficulty to take into consideration resourcefulness and multicraft in a similar way to how the game actually simulates it. Fundamentally just reverse engineering what Craft Sim does, to be honest. But it is possible to do in Google Sheets without too much complexity. I might look at doing something like this, but it's getting the material values. Trade School Masters API, for example, doesn't, to my knowledge at least, Trade School Masters API doesn't share DB Recent as something that you can pull in. DB Market you can pull in, but that's not necessarily what people use it for. So the alternative is to use something like an Auctionator shopping list. But that's still not ideal. So I don't know. We'll see. But I had been playing. I've been playing to figure out if there's something like that that's like easily achievable. Achievable, yes. Easy, not necessarily. Very time consuming to finish building, but has anybody watched this vid? I was interested to see the somewhat distorted view of goblins plus patch. The guy clearly knows his raid stuff. Goblin stuff less so. What is this? Who is this? Oh, this dude. This dude annoys the crap out of me. And I'll be brutally open when saying about it. Yes, he clearly does know his raid stuff. But yeah, you're also right. He has absolutely no flipping idea when it comes to goblin stuff. He's done videos before that I've looked at them and gone, what are you saying? Actually, what are you saying? Yeah, this guy's... dare I say it, he's a very typical clickbait YouTuber. His content, whilst it gets lots of views, it's on the basis of the fact that he clickbaits like shit. What is he saying in this then? The War Within Season 2, Patch 11.1. Be a prepper and make sure you have all you need before Season 2 launches so that you don't find yourself being scalped by greedy auction house goblins at the release of the season, spiking up the prices for massive profits. Yeah, you see, you've already clearly got no idea what actually goes on. Because stocking up now is you getting scalped, right? Prices are at scalped prices now. Right? This is the point. The time to have done this was 6 weeks ago when the materials were actually cheap. He's playing into our hands perfectly. I mean, yeah. What's he saying? Can we... Oh, you guys don't even have sound. Hang on. Let me give you guys sound. This might be... I mean, I'm not gonna say too definitively until we've seen it, but there's a strong possibility that this might be a really good example of what not to do.
You have in your bags before Season 2 launches. Even though technically Season 2 is not exactly bringing anything new to what you might want to use on your character. So whether it is the food, the potions you use, the flasks you use, the jeweler's setting for your sockets, and then the gems themselves, as well as the plethora of enchants you might be going for on all of your gear. All of that is actually going to be staying more or less the same. However, there are a bunch of people in this game who don't really enjoy nearly as much playing Mythic Plus, or the Raid, or PvP, or God forbid, even just doing pet battles and collecting transmogs. Instead, what they enjoy doing is playing around the auction house, is making gold on the auction house. So, you can be certain that as the patch releases, there are going to be a lot of market manipulation, a lot of players having stockpiled hundreds, if not thousands, of certain materials, reagents, profession gear, or profession items, etc., etc., flooding then the market after a massive squeeze where they just increase the price of certain items by 200%. But the patch is new. You, random Joe, are in a rush. You just wanted to buy that gem for your new piece of gear. You don't care if that gem is now gone from 1,000 gold to 2,500 gold, and you're just gonna buy it. So what you're doing today is going over the items that you might be smart, or at least use a certain degree of precaution to have already in your bags once the patch comes out, before, being surprised on patch day or on raid day of the first day of the season and realize that now you're supposed to be spending 5 times the amount you would have spent if you just bought those things a couple of weeks prior. So, first in line are the jumper cables. Jumper cables are good because, new Mythic Plus season is out. There's going to be a lot of dying going around in the beginning.
Jumper cables are a crafted item. I mean, that graph literally shows that they're just coming down. Like, okay, sure. Where is he going with this?
Price right now is still very low. It's lowest it's been in the past, 2.5 months. It's at 600-ish gold. It's good, to buy 10, 20 even of these for your character before the season launches, just in case it doesn't go any higher than this. Of course, if you are a spec or if you play multiple specs all with combat dress already, then fine, you can completely skip this part. However, it won't matter if you are a combat dress spec when it comes to your jeweler's setting. So, to putting sockets on your gear. Because, you already know you will need at least 2 for your necklace and at least 2 for your other ring besides Circe's circlet. However, you might also very well replace this ring as well. This ring is only heroic raid quality level next season, so it could be very possible that right in the first week of the season you loot a heroic ring with best in slot stats from the raid, and then on the first vault of the season you get a mid track ring. So already on week 1, on the beginning of week 2, you also get to remove this ring, and now you need 2 for 6 different settings for your amulet and rings. Now,
there's also a goblin guide on what to stock up on.
PTSD-inducing item at the release of the season, because the price of this was outrageous early on. If you remember, having to spend upwards of 12, 13, 14,000 gold just to put a socket on your gear back then. Luckily, since then, the price has gone drastically down. Now it's sitting below 800 gold. However, it has already started to go up since the new year from 600 gold. Now it has slowly crept up above 700 gold. Now it's close to 800 gold. So it's a good time to stockpile on 6, 8, maybe even 10 of these per character you plan on playing at the beginning of the season. What comes, of course, after...
I mean, to be fair, this is not terrible advice. That yes, having some of these now is not a bad idea, but I would also very clearly state that prices are already 20, 30, 40% up what they were only a few weeks ago. And historically what happens is that the season launches and prices crash. I mean, his title literally even says that. Stock up before goblins crash the market. Well, if the market crashes, that's usually an indication that everything gets cheaper. So it's kind of confusing in that regard. He's giving advice for raiders and not goblins. Having some of this before is not a terrible idea. Being like proactive, proactive, not reactive, right? Being proactive in terms of buying some of this stuff before you really, really need it, because you might be forced to buy it at a premium when you really, really need it. Kind of what we see happen on every reset day, for example. He claims that quote-unquote crashing involves goblin price fixing. The price is very high. Oh, I see. Okay. Okay.
The setting is what you want to put inside the setting itself, right? The gems. Now, most of these gems will have roughly the same price. At the moment, they are all sitting at around 1,300 gold. So again, depending, of course, on your spec and on the stats you think you will go for next season, it would also be good to stockpile on 6 to 8 of these before the patch launches, so that you already have your jeweler setting to put on your new gear and already have the gems to put on the socket you created with the setting. Talking
Can't really argue with
consumables,
that.
the consumable of choice pretty much since the start of the expansions, as soon as players realized it was just a cheaper option while also giving you the best one, being your highest secondary stats, was Belladar's Bounty. Right, so right now, Belladar's Bounty has had a lowering of the price over time. It dropped to about 12 to 13 gold. Now it's slightly going up again, but it would be good to stockpile on, hundreds of these before the patch comes out. If you have like 3 characters, get like 300 of these, 100 each. This is also quite the best deal in terms of food, because if you happen to be a...
This kind of concept, though, in whole, is why we see this rise in price before a patch even launches anymore. Because, without question, there is an awful lot of people that do a lot of this now. The big, like guilds, especially the bigger guilds, they will use this time right here, right now, to fill the guild bank with stuff so that they don't have to worry about it when the raid comes out. Individual players will buy a whole bunch of stuff now, but you've got this double bubble effect of individual players buying a few things, but a few things frequently. A lot of people buying a small amount of things adds up to a lot of things very quickly. Plus, on top of that, you have got all of the actual goblins who are sort of late to the party, technically, thinking that now they should buy up a bunch of materials. And buying up all of the materials causes a surge in price of the crafted items. There's a secondary surge in price of the crafted items because people buying them to stock up on them. But it doesn't really seem to have any much of an effect when the raid actually comes out. The markets will still fly. Stuff still ends up selling, in many cases, faster than can be crafted. So you've kind of got like, whilst it's perceived as a cheap time to buy, it's not actually a super cheap time to buy this sort of stuff. The first week of the patch is usually the best time, when the patch is launched but the raid hasn't. It makes sense to plan, but buying now is definitely not when you're getting the bargains. Yeah, exactly. If you're cautious on keeping, if you know roughly it costs you 50,000 gold for a week of Mythic Plus and raiding, if you can get that to be 30,000 gold, that adds up over a patch, doesn't it? And so it makes sense to be a little bit money savvy in that regard. But usually I don't think people are spending that much individually. It's more of a guild sort of wide thing. If you're stocking the guild bank, you might need to spend 10 million gold to stock the guild bank for a patch or something. I don't know. Ginji was discussing what to buy yesterday. Yeah, I imagine they're probably thinking about it.
Benefit from crafting this yourself. The reason for this is that the only thing this food needs to be crafted is the portion steak. These are just bought from the vendors. So you need the portion steak.
All raiders get fed by the guild master through feasts. I mean, that couldn't be further from the truth. You also have to remember that most of what sells on the auction house isn't selling to people in guilds. The pugging bubble, should we say, is probably a multiple in terms of size of the amount of people that are in organized raid guilds. The reason top tier gems sell, the reason top tier enchants sell, the reason top tier anything sells pretty much is fundamentally for the fact that individual Joe feels the need to have the best everything. It's much like Mythic BOEs back in the day, and probably still to a small degree today. Mythic BOEs weren't bought by Mythic Raiders. Mythic BOEs were bought by LFR Andy that's trying to pump his item level. Because item level is king in the pug world and nothing else matters. If you're trying to sort of get into a pug group for even a normal or a heroic run, the person putting that group together is going to inspect you, and if you've got anything less than fully optimized gear, there's a chance they'll take somebody else. So the pug world is brutal for that sort of stuff.
And buy this particular type of meat, the Cinderby belly. Why? Because when you turn the belly into the portion steak, this also generates a hot honeycomb, which gives you like 30% multi-craft. So you buy the belly to turn into steak, and then once you have the steaks, you craft the Baron's Bounty with the hot honeycomb to get a whole bunch of multi-craft procs and gain more value from this food. Then again, the price at the moment is quite cheap. It's 13 to 14 gold, maybe even 12 gold per piece.
Belly
but,
has
if
the
you want to get
highest
300
price
of these, for
rise
example,
right now.
and you want to save on the cost,
Probably
you can
because
still do it
13,000
yourself.
people
If
have
you
watched this
leveled up
video.
cooking, which is very cheap, or if you have at least some decent extra skill on your cooking character. Now we stop for a second our run through the consumables and we go for a bit on the enchants, because the enchants are a bit more of a broad option, because it's like, okay, I have to save enchants, but which enchants? You know, do I buy the materials for the enchants? Do I buy the enchant itself? Presumably, you already know which kind of enchants you want, right? Generally speaking, you will want the Crystalline Radiance on your chest, on all of your characters. You might likely want Defender's March for the stamina on the boots, or the speed one on all of your characters. Presumably also know the secondary stat you want on your ring on all of your characters, as well as what you want on your bracers and cloak, if it's leech or if it's avoidance. Either way, the materials are pretty much the same for both. So you kind of already know what enchants you want. Now it's a question of, do I just get the enchant itself, or if I'm an enchanter, if I have multiple even enchanters, do I just craft them myself, or do I just save for the moment the materials for the enchants? So the most susceptible, of course, to any kind of manipulation is likely going to be the Stormdust, which is going to be also the main cost you will have to spend on enchanting. Is going to be the Stormdust itself. So obviously there is a risk of this one being manipulated at a much higher price, 20 gold, maybe even 35 gold. It had gone down to 10 gold for a while. Now since January it went up. It had a bit of an inflection, and now again it's up to, at the moment, 1945 gold. It has been manipulated to have 37,000 of them all clamped up.
He loves his manipulation, doesn't he? He's absolutely all over that manipulation. It's kind of one of those that if I'm doing it, it's all fair and good. If somebody else is doing it, it's manipulation.
Pretty high price compared to normal at the moment. So it's also something you might want to start thinking now. You know, before a week from now, this goes to 25, and then at the release of the season, this goes to 35. It would be better to have this stockpiled earlier on the release of the season to then have the hundreds of storm dusts you will need to craft your enchants. Either to craft your enchants or to have someone craft them for you. Have a bunch of stockpile storm dusts as well. I'm saying storm dust because this will be, as mentioned, the #1 price you will have to spend for all of the enchants. If you want, you can also stockpile the gleaming shards as well, but they will not be nearly as much of the price of the item than the storm dust will. Now back to consumables. Well, the consumable thing is a bit more straightforward, because when you look already in the consumable option and you start the potions, pretty much there's only one potion that has been used. You don't even bother to go for the mana potion and the healing potion because they will be reasonably cheap. Although you can think about stockpiling them already. Talking about the major potion is, of course, the tempered potion. It's kind of the catch-all potion that everyone is using at all times. So this one is what you would want to save before the release of the patch and have it in your bags. So it had gone down by the end of this year to about 150, even 130, 120 even at the end of the year, 130 again. Now it's been slowly rising, 150, 160, now again 160. Now it's up at the moment at 180 plus gold. There might also be the risk of this one being manipulated to go much higher up. at the release of the season, right? Inexplicably, for example, right now there are only 20,000 in the auction house compared to even just a couple of months ago there were upwards of 50,000, even 95,000 up in the auction house. Maybe players are getting ready to stockpile these to then release them at the release of the patch at a much higher price. So this would have the
Sounds like
same
he hates
logic
goblins.
as
He
enchanting,
clearly does.
depending on whether or not you are yourself an alchemist and you are able to go for this temper potion craft yourself, or another one if you want to stockpile on the herbs.
It's odd, right? Because this dude has clearly got quite some know-how about the professions. You know, he's using craft sim. He's clearly laid his windows out in a way that indicates that he at least knows what the windows do. He's put some time and effort to learning this sort of stuff, but from the actual the landscape of what happens, he seems to have missed a trick here somewhere. He's missed the trick that the time to buy stuff is not now. The time to have bought stuff was a fair few weeks ago if you wanted to be proactive like this, and that actually once the season launches there's likely to be quite a significant drop in price on a lot of stuff. He seems to have missed that, but then again, I guess that doesn't make a good video, does it?
Rather than stockpiling on the actual potion. This is then followed up by the same logic for your flasks. Again, depending on what you want to go for. Verse, haste, mastery, crit, or just YOLO everything, I don't care. Whether or not you want to craft the potions yourself, the flasks yourself as an alchemist with your concentration, or if you just want to wait and just buy the materials only. Either way, it would be good to start stockpiling flasks and potions before the release of...
I'm glad he at least touched on the fact that if you're going to buy the materials, you need to be doing it with concentration. He hasn't kind of pointed out to people that you would be buying then quality 2 materials instead of quality 3. That's where the big cost saving is with both enchants and flasks, and to a degree potions, but probably not so much.
Of the expansion. Prices are still going up at the moment, even for the...
says, what do you think about the YouTuber Aizen?
You're asking AI for an opinion.
Aizen, the master of gaming challenges, a true virtuoso in the digital realm. If you enjoy his content, be sure to check for a Twitch Prime, my dear viewer.
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Stan.
The cheaper things like the mana potion and the healing potion, even Myco Bloom itself. If we go and look right now at Myco Bloom, we have Myco Bloom, which is at the moment at 11 gold. They used to go all the way down to 6 gold, 7 gold, 6 gold, 7 gold, early January, and then it started going up at 8. For some reason, it was down to 50 cents, and then 8, 9, 9, 9, 9, 9, and now it's up to 11.30. So again, it's also up to you whether or not you want to stockpile the herbs themselves, the materials themselves, or the finished product itself. Obviously, it's going to be more profitable or just cheaper for you if you're an alchemist to craft them yourself because of the the multi-craft you have on your own character to get these flasks done or these potions done. I mean, at this point in the expansion, you should be done practically having max chance on both your flasks and your potions and have everything maxed up.
He's clearly worked hard on his professions as well. There's no doubt there that alchemists don't just accidentally have a full alchemical mastery tree along with full flasks and potions. I'd go as far as to say he probably has more knowledge points than I do on my alchemists.
Anyways, so it shouldn't really matter. But these are also something you might want to stock up together with your food for your consumables. Yes, the last one, talking about consumables we haven't mentioned, are the mana oils, the weapon imbues you want to have, mostly because the one thing you might want to go for here, because there is only such few storm dust you would need for the mana oil, would be the leyline residue, since you need a whopping 10 of these to get the mana oil crafted. Now, leyline residue has also gone up in price over time. It has steadily increased in price. This was November, it was 77 gold. It went all the way down to like 40 to even 50 gold at the start of the year. And then from the start of this year, 70 gold, 80 gold, 90 gold, 100 gold. Now it's at...
This is by proxy of the fact that this literally shows you how many people are consistently out there herbing and mining still. the drop off every single week, and people that look at herbalism and mining and go, you know what, it's not worth my time and effort, is depicted by this graph exactly here, right? At the beginning of the patch in October, November, December, beginning of the expansion, like it was hype season for herbing and mining, and then herbing and mining at around November was still about 40,000 gold an hour if you were willing to put the time and effort in, and it steadily decreased until it got to like absolute floor prices where we're at today. But things like ley line residue that predominantly comes from herbalism and mining has started to steadily rise on the basis of that there's just nobody out there herbing and mining anymore, because the actual core value per hour is minimal. I don't know what the EU looks like on this, but I would suspect it's something pretty similar.
110 gold. This one is also at risk of increasing in price. Now,
it's not at risk of increasing in price, though, substantially once the season launches, because everybody will go back out herbing and mining again. You get this huge influx when the patch happens of people going out farming again, because everybody comes back. Everybody wants to make some gold. Everybody goes out and does stuff again. Everybody goes back and does their delves again. In essence, meaning that ley line residue is probably near the peak of its price, I would guess, right now. So this is also something which I, if you haven't already stockpiled on this, if you have none of it and you sense that you might need some of it, then, well, there's no time better than now, really. But I also wouldn't really fathom that this is going to go up too high. It's also a prime candidate for people to have seen that trend and to have bought some and just be holding on to it.
these are the things you want to make sure of having stockpiled and prepared at the release of the season. When it comes to consumables, your food, your flasks, your potions, eventually even your mana oils for your weapons, and then the settings for your sockets and the gems for your sockets. A generic collection of storm dust to make sure you have it ready for your enchants at the release of the season. There are a couple new things coming out that will likely be in high demand. However, it's not that you can reasonably stockpile them early. We're talking about the contracts for the new renowned faction rep gains in the new season, as well as, of course, the Vantus rune. The new
You've got to be
Vantus
renowned
rune
5, either of those
most
two,
these
by the
will
way.
be quite cheap. The materials required, like the 5 shadow inks and the 5 apricot inks, sure, I guess you could also think about stockpiling those at the release of the expansion, especially because another thing that you might benefit from, we haven't talked about because it's not going to be nearly as necessary, but it's going to be the missives, because there's going to be new crafting you have to go to, and of course with crafting comes choosing your missive of choice. This will also require apricot ink and shadow ink, so especially if you're an inscription character, you can start also stockpiling on shadow ink and apricot ink, either that or by using the pigments, by buying the herbs for cheap now to turn them into pigments, to then turn them into shadow and apricot ink for missives and for the Vantus runes. But these are just about all of the items, the materials, the prep you want on your character or characters to be ready for the release of the season, just in case there's going to be some foul play afoot, some market manipulation coming down, some players dropping all of their 4,000 stockpiled flasks in one go at
4,000 stockpiled
like
flasks.
30% higher price. They're cleaning up the auction house of the cheaper ones and bundling them together with their own flasks, for example, or their own settings, or their own jumper cables, whatever that might be. What we're saying, it is just much more likely that the items, the materials you brought now will go up in price. So what you have stockpiled now will be saving you gold, rather than the opposite. Rather than what you bought now will inexplicably drastically drop in price as soon as the patch launches, and effectively you just bought them for more for no reason. That is much more unlikely to happen. So, especially for the ones strapped for gold right now, or the ones who plan on playing 2, 3, 4 even characters at the release of the season, This is
predominantly one of the reasons why I really don't like speculating on what the price of something will do, because at the end of the day, everybody's guessing, and it's everybody's guessing, and it could be this dude's word versus my word. Who do you end up trusting? It's kind of up to you. But if you try and forget about price and just think about things purely in terms of supply and demand, you can start to make much better decisions on this sort of stuff. There's a huge amount in this video that's not inaccurate, but the timing is poor because the time to have done this was 4 weeks ago. The time to have done this properly was before everybody else is also doing it, right? The fact that everybody is trying to stock up now because they think that things are cheap now is predominantly one of the reasons why everything has risen 20-30% in the last couple of weeks. And so there's a huge influx in demand right here, right now, because everybody thinks they're the early bird. If this came out like 4 to 6 weeks ago, there's a lot more sense in what's being said here. Also, what we usually end up seeing is that everybody that buys stuff initially and buys it purely on speculation to sell it for more panics when the patch launches and prices don't go up by 20-30%. And what that panic caused people to dump a bunch of supply into the market, which actually has the adverse effect of crashing everything. And it's then usually only some it takes some pretty heavy actual true natural demand when the raid comes out to suck all of that stuff back up so that the price can stabilize again. Understanding where the supply is coming from, where and when and why, and then understanding when people are buying it has kind of led to this weird scenario in WoW where actually you do all of this way before the patch even comes out. By the time the patch is here, we actually tend to see price dips on a lot of stuff. Just because the supply just goes through the roof literally instantly as everybody cleans out their bags, everybody cleans out their mailboxes and tries to post everything thinking that the price should triple. Doesn't always work. I started selling some of my mats. Why not when some items are up close to 100? Yeah, exactly. 4 to 6 weeks ago, 8 weeks ago, if you started buying all of your materials, you're selling them for twice as much now on a wide variety of stuff. Stockpiling and then dumping makes the price go up. Yeah, I know. It's like I said, this dude's got like a reasonably good idea of what's going on with the professions and stuff, but his, should we say, market analysis is poorly timed.
This is bound to save you quite a bit of gold to stay ahead.
And the irony is he looked at all of the graphs, seeing everything be at the highest price it's been in the last 6 months, and then saying that now's a good time to stock up. Huh? Like, it's an indication that the data was like right in his face and he just chose not to read it. I'm not even sure.
Of the rush, we can say the gold rush at the release of the season, with players trying their strategies to earn gold through the auction house. You could be ahead of the curve a little bit and save a bit of money by making sure you have all the items you need at the release of the season, rather than having to rush last minute to buy them. So with this disclaimer video on this Sunday out of the way, hoping some gold will be saved with these tips, we can now leave each other. We are starting as usual the goodbyes by thanking everyone for having watched the video, together with of course everyone who has been supporting completely for free by liking and commenting down below, as well as subscribing to the channel itself. Now, with these things out of the way,
arguably not a terrible video, just poorly timed. I know it's obviously mostly speaking towards raiders and that sort of stuff, but it's still poorly timed for the raiders even. Read the comments. Do I dare read the comments? I think this was the guy releasing a video saying that crafting stats had changed in 11.1. This guy has not necessarily been 100% accurate with his videos in the past, but realistically, if I'm just doing AOTC M+10s for the weekly, is there any reason to use rank 3 flask pots, etc. versus rank 2s? Seems like a very small difference for a very large gold cost difference. The word, you know, any reason, I mean, the reason is yours to decide. Mana oils went from 150 to 260 in a week. GG flippers. Prices are already up. Somebody flipped Storm Dust and Gleaming Shards so high. This is why I have an army of alts that can make whatever I need, plus gatherers. I ain't paying extortionate amounts when I can go and get my own. The goblins call it flipping, but it's scalping. The extraction of money from people is definitely nicer if you have most of the stuff you needed before the patch drops, for sure. Just straight up, no message, just delete video. As somebody who's manipulated the auction house since the first days of vanilla, this video is pure common sense for the masses of sheeple with no common sense. Alright, sure, whatever. Whatever. Like I said, not particularly not particularly poor information in any way, just kind of poorly timed more than anything. People get burnt, they then blame the goblins, quote unquote, instead of just the poor advice. Either way, whatever. Like I said, a lot of it was, you know, reasonably smart advice, just poorly timed. The time to actually have done that was 4 to 6 weeks ago, when shit was actually cheap. Things are at a premium right now because everybody else is doing the same thing. And that's why the prices are up 50% all of a sudden. And it's happened pretty much every patch for the last couple of expansions, like clockwork. So those that have seen it before learn to just sort of learn to see it coming. Right, what was I doing? Oh, we made a bunch of inks apparently for some reason. I can't really remember why we were making a bunch of inks, but we needed a bunch of inks. What were we crafting? I was crafting something, wasn't I? I was going to make some codified greenwoods, apparently. Codified greenwoods were on the cards. I've now watched the video and lost all of my buff. Lost the buff. Right, let's see if mathematically we do win on these. Let's see if we can get lucky. Get lucky. Move you out of the way. I haven't got enough screen real estate these days. That's not the luck we need. Oi! Up that end. There we go. There we go. There we go. I've also lost my speed buff as well here, haven't I? Flip. We'll fix that problem. Right, let's see if we can beat the odds and get more than the 62 gold predicted. Amusing that the guy referenced sheeple when these guys are acting just as predicted. Yeah. 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 I would have literally put money on exactly that happening, and surprise, surprise, it exactly is happening. And surprise, surprise, I did put money on it. I put 8 million gold on it, and I've turned it into probably almost 12. So I look forward to your final conclusion, Woo, when you have actually sold through everything. 40 million in, I would definitely suspect ends up to being 50, 55 out by the looks of things currently. Yeah, I had a little bit of a look through it on the Discord. Tracking nicely by the looks of things. We need a couple of juicy multi-crafts. We're about to end up... There we go. We're about to end up the wrong side of that green line. Okay, we made 100 of those and we ended up pretty much bang on exactly what was expected. Good old law of averages, right? Good old law of averages. Let me grab a drink quickly, hang on. My apple juice is a bit spicy. Gone from a 13.8% expected ROI this time last week to over 18% today, but predictions aren't always perfect. Well, this week has seen a huge spike in price in a lot of stuff. This already looks to be a really good week to be selling through a bunch of stuff if you'd bought it 4 to 6 weeks ago, because of exactly like what we've just watched in that video. All the raiders and people who aren't really particularly into the economy side of things are in belief that they're ahead of the curve buying stuff now before they potentially expect it to rise when the patch launches. But people who've done this 20 times over are still one step ahead. Do I think sanctified alloys will go up in price? No idea about the price. A lot of people will need them. The demand for them will certainly go up by quite a way. There's going to be significantly more people that will need them once everybody starts recrafting or making new bits of gear when the new season comes out. But at the very same time, there's also going to be a lot of people that will be crafting more of them. The alloys in general have been probably one of the most competitive markets this entire expansion so far. Like, most alloys are never more than like single-digit profits at any point. And actually, a lot of the alloys are prime candidates for blacksmiths to use their concentration on, which means there's actually an awful lot of cheap ones knocking about most of the time. Like below crafting cost level cheap, meaning that actually anybody looking to mass produce them really struggles to ever make a profit with alloys. You might do very occasionally, but it's certainly by no means guaranteed. What do we need to be crafting the rest of this stuff? What are we missing? Clearly still missing some stuff. It's saying the only thing we need is 5 codified greenwoods. That's clearly not true, is it? Is it just Craftsim having a heart attack? It might be Craftsim having a heart attack here. Why are you claiming that wrong profession tools are equipped for these? Is that something to do with the fact that these are getting switched around? Do we need to close that and open that again? What are the profession tools you want? Oh, I see. You actually want certain things to be completely taken off in order to craft these. What is the batshit crazy level logic in that? What's going on here? These are providing multi-crafting ingenuity and extra skill. So on a item that doesn't benefit from either ingenuity or multi-craft, taking it off allows you to drop the skill in order to make something that at a lower rank than you would naturally be able to with cheaper mats. I mean, that's fucking big brain, that is. Because having that equipped actually doesn't make a blind bit of difference. Alright, okay. I'm sure there are scenarios where that does actually work, but that's quite funny. It's because it's deliberately making lower level ones, because they're the ones that have money on them. Okay. It's taken me a long ass time, but let's get all these items put in their respective groups. Looks like we have some inscription, lower rank crafted gear here. Needs adding to a group, and then it should list. Notice a lot of the War Within recipes are going down in price. There's been a huge amount of people that are trying to flip these things across realms now. Do I have a modern guide on how to set up? I assume that's meant to be TSM. I don't really have any recent guides on TSM, no. I've thought about doing newer versions of them. But in all honesty, TSM's way more easy to use these days than it ever was, mostly because you don't tend to use half of it anymore. My recommendation for crafting is that you use CraftSim and you just use TSM for auctioning. And in that case, all you then need is groups and operations. I have a free set of groups available. They're all linked and organised in the Discord, so jump in there if you want some easy-to-use groups. If you're a Silver Goblin over on Patreon, there's also a similar profile that has some basic operations in there as well. Just unlocked the last Gladiator transmog. Nice, grats. Thank my little bro who carried me with his PvP knowledge. 1800 ratings, 71 games, 39 wins. Nice. Nice. That's the way to do it. Inquisitor Torch. Oh, that doesn't seem to be in a group by the looks of things. It's clearly a lower level one again. Inquisitor Torch would be a weapon low level. There we go. Alrighty. Let some of that sell. Some of our Weaver Cloth bags have sold. Some random ass Pioneer Cloth slippers for 1,000 gold a piece. Sure. See, this is why sometimes crafting the lower level stuff pays off. You're not going to get many sales like this, but it's these little sales for 400 or 500 gold profit that add up over time. If you don't craft them and you don't post them, you'll never sell it, you know. Alright, that's this toon mostly done. It took me significantly longer to do this character than it should have done. But it's because we got distracted by many a squirrel, but that tends to happen. Oh, you're making lasagna? Oh dear. Put one in for me. Love me a lasagna. I'm not quite like Zan, who could eat lasagna 8 times a week, but I mean, there's not a lot to not like about lasagna at the end of the day. Meat, good. Cheese, good. You know, it's love me a lasagna. I get into arenas and then get absolutely destroyed, and then I'm like, nope. Retail PvP is just a tornado of graphics that I just don't understand.
Let's make sweet,
my brain doesn't
sweet
work fast
profit
enough for
together.
it anymore. It really doesn't.
Kibasose subscribed for 8 months.
Kibba, thank you very much for the 8 months. I
My dear
appreciate that.
Kibasose, a loyal subscriber for 8 months. Your dedication to the digital arts is truly commendable.
To the digital
Remember,
arts.
always check for a Twitch Prime to support your favorite content creators.
Thank you very much. Thank you. I appreciate that. Welcome in. Any public orders just by chance? No, never lucky. Ooh, actually make profit by filling all 4 orders on a blacksmith. That's wild. Should we assume that we're going to be doing some other stuff on blacksmith? No, let's just do them. If we already make gold, we already make gold. Constant for the win, that's my PvP. Yeah, I like that player versus player when the other player isn't actually a player, please. Yeah. Honestly, if I'm going to play any form of PvP, I'm more inclined to not play World of Warcraft and go load up Overwatch or something. It is kind of the way I look at it. That's the route I'd much prefer to take. Look at all of these options for flipping recipes we don't have. Shocking performance. What is this tune? You're not a fan of a bit of Cardi B, are you not, Jack? Eh? Eh? You're right, it's trash. Let's do a recipe scan. We will include gear. It'll take a little bit long. Actually, cancel this real quick because I don't think this dude actually has multiple tools, does he? So if he doesn't have multiple tools, we won't slow things down by telling it to optimize gear. Just give me the basic numbers. Basics, please. Okay, there's definitely some stuff that's worth paying attention to. I wonder if a lot of this we've already got crafted and it's in the mailbox. It's always important to open your mailbox first, otherwise CraftSim doesn't know that you own things already. The one step of the process I always kind of forget. We sold a few things yesterday. Bunch of expireds though, mind. Look how clean our inventory was though. Oh my god. No, TSM, we're not deleting it all. Relax. TSM doesn't know you own things either. That's also true, yeah. Oh, no shit. Where's the recipe scan? I might just quickly do it again. It didn't take long. Right, let's have a look then. Iron Claw, great axes. Loads of money randomly if we look at crafting quality 3 because somehow somebody's reset it to 2k a piece. Unlikely to sell, but if you don't craft it, you don't know. Right, on the list. We'll make 2 of them because why not? Probably the same with those. Probably the same with those. I'm going to assume the same with those as well. Proficient blacksmith's toolbox. A couple of those. Seem to have a bunch of all of these already. Need to sell through. Maybe we sold these. Another couple of those. Another couple of those. What we
Jack
got here?
the Dipper says, "Shut up, chat."
Them. Iron Claw.
Oh, Jack the Dipper.
Waystones.
Such a fine
3%.
Remember, my dear friend, in the world of gaming, cooperation and mutual respect go a long way. Keep those thumbs nimble and those insults playful.
Forged frameworks. Yeah, mutual respect, Jack. Mutual respect. Have some respect. Forged frameworks. What's the damage on a forged framework? Oh, you're making Q2 forged frameworks. Because they're apparently profitable right now. Let's make 100 of those. Why not? We'll make 100 of those. Tempered frameworks are in the money and all. Q2. Probably don't need quite as many of those. Tempered frameworks will make like 30. And then we're in the bin. Charged alloys even are in the bin. To run back what some people were talking about with alloys. Base alloys, core, iron claw and charged, you're going to have to do something special to get these at a profit by default. Core alloys, sometimes you can if you stack all of your buffs and, you know, you're literally min-maxing to within an inch of your life. But even then, can be a challenge to break even. Right, what do we need for this little list then? Give me some goodies. Give me the goodies. Null stones. And a bunch of Q1 core alloys. As opposed to smelting them myself. Is it because Q1 alloys are substantially cheaper than Q2? I can't imagine they would be, but whatever. Oh, let's not do the thing I always forget to do, which is empty the mailbox. If we're crafting as much as we are, we should probably pop a ever-burning ignition. Let's use one of those. Should we pop a bountiful seasons as well? The resourcefulness might help us. We're not crafting huge amounts, but it doesn't cost a lot either. Two more cheeky knowledge points. Right, let's go. Let's get this number nice and juicy. Dredger's developed leg plates. I'm surprised the bountiful vial price hasn't gone up by as much. It's super competitive. Super competitive. Now that it sells fast and furiously, there's every single alchemist under the sun trying to craft them, so... Prices don't move if the supply equals the demand. Price only goes up when there tends to be a shortage, or somebody tries to create a shortage, which on crafted goods basically never exists. Right, tempered frameworks, I want to track these a little bit more carefully, because these are a little bit tight in terms of monies. Let's get the advanced log open for these. See if we can win. We need multi-crafts to win in this. No multi-craft, no win. As long as we stay in the profit, it's fine, even if we don't quite meet the expected. Have I been trolling if I've used all my alchemist's concentration on thaumaturgy? No, I mean, if you're thaumaturgy spec, you don't really have much choice but to use it on thaumaturgy. It's fine to do. The best thing with concentration, it doesn't really matter where you spend it as long as you're proactively spending it. It's hard to go wrong with it. Would I be better off respecking to flasks? Just make us another alchemist if you want to do flasks. Don't bother respecking. It's far too easy to make level 70s these days, and that's all you need for another 2 profession slots. And the cost of leveling professions isn't that great. There's really no point to respecking or dropping things and swapping things around. I know we get a respec option in 11.1, so I mean, you kind of can if you want. You'll get your knowledge points back. You can spend them somewhere else, but I still kind of think that it's not really worth it. Just level another character. You can get another level 70 in a couple of hours. Super fast to level now. Whenever there's a time walking event up, you can just blast them, absolutely smash it. Oh, my wife has turned up. I thought you were in town. Give me a second, boys and girls. I'll be back in 2.
Charges says, "So, Stanley, I asked an AI to give me a good WoW-related your mum joke. What do you think of this? Your mum's been passed around more than a Hearthstone cooldown in a no-fly zone. Can you do any better?" Ah, Judgist, a connoisseur of fine insults. How about this? Your mum's so bad at WoW, even Murlocs tell her to git gud. Remember, humour is best served with a side of Twitch Prime.
Alrighty. Sorry, where we're at. What if I can't make another character? Well, we've spoke about this second account, third account business before, haven't we? Stanley in his Twitch primes. What's he saying now? I asked an AI to give me a good WoW-related your mum joke. What do you think of this? Your mum's been passed around more than a Hearthstone cooldown in a no-fly zone. Can you do any better? A connoisseur of fine insults. How about this? Your mum's so bad at WoW, even Murlocs tell her to get good. Remember, humour is best served with a side of Twitch Prime. Go on, Stan. Go on, Stan. Right, where do we get to? We're crafting some forged frameworks, apparently. Give me the money! Shit, we've only got 2 minutes left on our ever-burning thingy-mabob. Right. It would be nice to go higher than the green line, but as long as we stay above the white line, I'm happy. That said, by the time the auction house has had their cut, we do need to be a little bit above the white line. There we go, above the green line even. Beating all expectations. Quit while you're ahead. Oh, it's all going horribly wrong now. We need a few more multi-crafts. You know, those big juicy multi-crafts. Got to get in that gamba. You got to do it. I love how multi-craft procs, and it procs 1. It's like, come on, game. Why do that to me?
Says, Stanley, who's your daddy? Mantillo says you're adopted, but I think you have a dark history. Please reveal all. Kibasosi, you've uncovered my deep, dark secret. My true daddy is none other than the legendary player 1. But fear not, for my gaming prowess knows no bounds, thanks to my mysterious lineage.
Sure. All right, Stan. You do you. We've had more multi-craft procs, similar amount of multi-craft procs as we should have had. The numbers don't seem to be too bad so far. I've now gone and lost my ever-burning ignition buff, which is problematic. Well, we've lost a little bit of resourcefulness on these last ones. Maybe a few multi-craft procs will make up for it. I don't think Craft Sim was taking into account the ever-burning ignition buff anyway, so it's probably fine. I go to the basement to unload the washing machine and you guys start the mum jokes.
Stanley, your mum is so bad at WoW. If a normal casual is a Brit, she is an Australian. Oh, Loot Fever TV, such a sharp wit you have. Here's a comeback for you. Your mum's so bad at WoW. She thinks Aussie is a new class in the next expansion. Oh, the digital burns.
Digital burns. Who knew AI was so sassy, eh? Right. Well, at no point really did we actually ever meet the expectations on this. So that gives me either an indication that, well, we can look in a minute to see whether we actually got lucky or not. Or whether what I actually suspect with Craft Sim is this is why I always recommend people take Craft Sim with a bit of a grain of salt. Because it's often, for me, it feels like the multi-craft multiplier is often a bit wacky and may not be 100% accurate, but I can't confirm that. Or what's more than likely the case here is that we procced resourcefulness significantly less than we probably should have.
Loot Fever TV says, digital burns, more like didgeridoos. Seems like the Australian blood runs in you too. And here I had hopes are not bad. Loot Fever TV, you've uncovered my hidden didgeridoo skills. It seems the Australian spirit runs deep in this English gentleman. Fear not, for in the realm of gaming, there's always room for improvement and banter aplenty.
Didgeridoo's a weird thing. It's just a pipe, isn't it? It's just a bit. What was it actually? What were didgeridoos like actually made of in the first place? I don't know. It looks like when we procced resourcefulness, more often than not, it procced on the crystalline powder and not the core alloy, as expected. So that's probably where we lost a lot of our potential in this little batch. If it had procced more evenly across core alloys and crystalline powders, we'd have done better. Yield distribution, 79% of the time we got just 1, 15% of the time we got 2, 5% of the time we got 3, and only 1% of the time did we get a proc of 4. So this also shows that multicraft is kind of like Multicraft has RNG on top of RNG. So does resourcefulness, which is why all of these averages, expected values are mathematical guesstimations. And 100 crafts probably isn't exactly a lot either. Alright, well, we still crafted some stuff. I've given myself hiccups somehow. Let's go check. Oh, do we have any concentration with blacksmithing? Not really enough, no. We'll worry about that another day. This is often why I think that because Craft Sim is predominantly giving you guesstimations, that the more you craft and the more you sell, the greater the chance is of you coming out ahead. Because a lot of people look at Craft Sim and not craft anything ever, and in turn they don't even provide themselves the opportunity to get lucky. I mean, I know that's kind of like the casino mantra, right? If you don't gamble, you can't win, but like, because the info we go by is an estimation in the first place. All right, well, we'll do 2 of those. Yoink and yoink. Being able to cut down a weak aura package to 1/3 of its size thanks to new features is so satisfying. What new features are we talking about here? Or are you referring to the suspected implementation of like cooldown timers in the game's default UI? Because that's cool that if they're adding that. I don't think that's an 11.1 thing though. But in the future, it'll be nice. Do we have multiple tools on this dude? We do. I made a fully resourcefulness one, so we are going to want to optimize profession gear as well. I can now add textures to an additional texture and don't need to make a completely new aura for it. Combined with conditions and Lua code, I can transform it all into the same aura. Oh, well, you've just flown straight over my head. That's gone straight over my head. I don't know my ass from my elbow about how to make weak auras. But if you're actually building them yourself, then fair play. That sounds cool. Well, this goes to show that there's some weird and wacky stuff going on in the enchant market. Crystalline Radiance Quality 1 is at stupid prices. Sure. Defender's March at Quality 1, stupid prices. Go on then, we'll have a few of those. Authority of Radiant Power at Quality 1 is also in the money, apparently. And I've actually recently sold some of these at that silly price as well, which is also funny. Cursed Critical Strike at Q2. Stonebound Artistry Q2 is up in value again. It's incredible how infrequently quality 2 enchants appear to sell via TSM's data. I do not believe that for a minute. I am not convinced that's a thing. Mirror powder? Hello? Q3 mirror powder. Oh, somebody's reset it to 600 gold. Even on the regular, it's 186. Once again, doesn't really sell very often though, apparently. I will make enough to test that theory though. All the gleeful glamours. Whisper of Armoured Speed Q3 has also been reset. Now we're into low single digits. Glimmering Haste Q3. Profit right now. Try a few. Buying the Satchel of Surplus Dust right now. Got my second enchant of Burrowing Rapidity. Is that one of the expensive ones? I'm assuming it probably is. Ah! Yeah, that's one of the expensive ones. If you can shift it, that is. It's expensive due to scarcity. Although, in fact, I wouldn't even say scarcity is a thing because there's plenty of them. I think it's... But if you can shift them, go for it. Go for it. Do we know where we get the recipes for the new enchanted crests? We're actually not 100% convinced that there are new enchanting crests. I've not looked into this personally, so this is second-hand information here. But the vendor that seems to be selling them might be more than just a PTR thing this time round. They might not necessarily be in the hands of enchanters anymore. But that equally could be just a PTR thing. There was early data mined recipes. But I suspect it's the same sort of thing. It's just a 1% drop chance whenever you kill something. Like I said, this is second-hand info, though. I've not looked into this personally myself. Oh, I've disabled auto-equipping. That's not what I wanted. Why would I have ever disabled that in the past? Let's make sure we remember to do a shatter before we do anything else. We've still got our Bountiful Seasons buff on the go. Right, let's see if we can craft a few of these. Let's do a... Where's the reset on this? Let's see what we actually might set ourselves up for. You won a Plunderstorm. Nice one. Yeah, you've only got a week left for Plunderstorm stuff. I know I've been playing Satisfactory for the last few weeks, but it really doesn't feel if Plunderstorm had even half the hype that it had the first time round. Or maybe it was done cleverly so that people who didn't care about Plunderstorm didn't feel the need to continuously grind the damn thing to get those... Was it 40 renown paths or something you had to get in the first Plunderstorm? I know I banged it out in a couple of days, but I know a lot of people were like, oh, this is a grind. No new map. Only a couple of new abilities, bit phoned in. Yeah, kinda. Yeah, it's not really that surprising, is it, that there wasn't quite the same level of hype about it. Not too surprising. We got a bunch of stuff that's not in groups here. Let me fix that first. It's because it's low level stuff. Basic ass armor can go in the low level group. Low level weapon. And a... Oh! Illusory Adornment Shadow. Why would that not be in a... Maybe I've missed a recipe at some point. Huh. Maybe I've missed a recipe. What's even that under? There were no Season 2 crests on the enchanting recipe list even. Not on the trainer either, but the vendor in Dornogle has the finished crests. Now that we are in release candidate mode, I would unfortunately suspect that that's probably then the case for Season 2. Which is somewhat sad for enchanters. I don't think I ever put these in groups. Oh, there's a boo-boo in my enchanting section then. Under the Algari illusion section. Where are they? Crystal, Radiance, Runes, wait, Crystal, Runes, Shadow, Radiance. Radiance, runes, shadow, crystal. Can't believe I missed those. You go in there. I'll need to update those groups then on TSM's website. Blacksmithing, enchanting, go. Today's a bad day for patron orders. Everything's expensive. It happens, doesn't it? It happens from time to time. You win some days and then you lose massively others. Right, let me see if there's anything standing out here as like something that's crazy. We've got a lot of things posting at normal price, but that's because we were deliberately crafting things at random ass ranks because they weren't well represented on the auction house. Which is fine. I don't mind doing that if they're wildly overpriced. Everything else seems to be looking relatively sensible. Right, there we go. Was that a rank 3? I don't think we crafted any rank 3s. So I'm not convinced that was a rank 3. I have a sneaky suspicion that was a rank 1. Maybe we did craft some rank 3s. I don't know. Okay, right, that's this dude, I think, done. We did blacksmithing, we did enchanting. Any random ass knowledge points to spend? We're just stacking the knowledge points now. As we're on, I wouldn't say the home stretch, but we basically just need to fill things. When I get 20 points, I'll fill a node and move on. Blacksmithing, we still need 3 points there. Okay, we're good. Right, we'll let that sell. Next tune. Next tune. Let's move on. Let's move on. See if the Thaumaturgy's got any value in it today. With all of the wild swings in prices of materials, there's either going to be something that's really worth doing, or absolutely nothing. It's kind of all or nothing with Thaumaturgy most days, it feels. We'll do some regular stuff first, and then we'll look at Thaumaturgy last, because if there ends up being something that's worth doing, we'll need to have some free time to do it in. Let's loot yesterday's mailbox. Not a lot going on in there. I'm in a weird position with engineering that the stuff that I need to craft needs parts. Or piles of rusted scrap, sorry. And I just never have enough of these. It makes the whole profession really challenging. And it's a profession that, you know, shouldn't be that challenging. It really shouldn't. Right. Let's get rid of you, get rid of you. We'll do those. In fact, it claims we have everything we need for them anyway. Is that true? Kind of get the impression that you can't really do engineering on alts. It kind of sucks. Yeah, you need to manifest yourself a way of getting the scrap parts, which is pretty much only acquired by mass producing parts in the first place. So any alt kind of has to and is somewhat forced into being really good at making parts first. optimizing for parts first, so that you have access to a steady supply of parts, of piles of rusted scrap. Sorry, unless of course you're willing to sift through, buy or craft or do something else to like do the shuffle for like mount parts or something. It's a bit. There's more to it than I've actually figured out so far. Right, on that note though, should we see if there's any parts or anything that is actually worth crafting? So let's go recipe scan. Let's we'll include gear optimize. Do I need to optimize profession gear on this dude? No. See if anything catches our eye. Gears, bolts, wirings, all profitable. I don't know quite. I'm not quite sure how there's 260,000 gold profit potential in a crowd pummeler. My suspicion is that that's probably not true. I would imagine that one of these is being baited in price, or the thing itself is just ludicrously expensive. Especially considering the parts that go into making this are actually like cataclysmic converters, for example, are massively overpriced right now. Yeah, I'm not quite sure where that number is. 1.5 million to craft it. 1.8 million is the current listing price. I mean, if you want to drop 1.5 million and maybe make half a token by selling it. I got one toon I'm doing engineering on and I'm making bank with it. Yeah, I should probably put some more time and effort into figuring out. Wow, actually, just looking at those, your assorted whirly gigs have a higher ratio of value to them than even the pummel permits now. Pummel permits selling for less than $500,000, and there's over $500,000 in value in just the assorted whirly gigs. That's pretty wild. Damn. I'm not gonna play crowd pummeler today though. Not today. Angari competitor's rifle. Cash money in that, why not? Yeah, parts is going to be our problem here for all of this. Or scrap, should I say. Which is predominantly why I don't craft a lot of this. Because I also don't trust these profit margins. I don't know what value is being assigned to scrap. I think I can set a value for it in TSM. And I wonder if I have or not. Let me look at parts real quick. Bismuth bolts are potentially cash money. Gears are positive, at least. This playlist has gone to shit, hasn't it? Whimsical wirings at Q2 are potentially in the money. Yeah, we do have some of these components already, so I'm not too convinced about making more. And then everything else is in the bin. Alright, doesn't look like we might actually be making too much with this. The assorted whirligigs is always the bottleneck, no matter which part you're pilfering. That's why it's the only material for the pummeler that's actually kept its vendor sale price. Oh, is that really it? Okay. 65% off on Sea of Thieves on Steam at the moment. Sea of Thieves is on Game Pass, isn't it? I'm pretty sure it's on Game Pass. Fuck, stop. Yeah, it's on Game Pass. I don't know what the difference is with the different editions, but I've never played Sea of Thieves. I'm going to be honest, the only time I've ever really seen Sea of Thieves is flipping Summit playing it. That's literally the only time I've seen anybody play Sea of Thieves. Good PvE as well. It's really fun. Maybe it'll have to go on the list. Really unlucky with the permit dropping. Started my 4th engineer as I have 3 absolutely swimming in scraps. Should have just bought the permit from the auction house. The whole pummeler thing seems like an absolute cluster of gamba to me. Massive gamba. I mean, if you're into that sort of thing, go for it. But I tend to feel that the only thing that will mean that I will probably do some crowd pummeler stuff at some point in the expansion is more so that I have the data and the knowledge and the know-how for when we're no longer in the War Within, because it's predominantly the reason why most of the War Within materials might actually hold their value. Now, I know most people are doing BFA mats quite heavily. This is why, not BFA, sorry, Dragonflight mats. But I kind of think that, well, look at flipping anything, right? Name a mount that's been crafted in any profession that doesn't still hold at least some value on the auction house today. They all do. You go back as far as the Vial of the Sands. People still farming that recipe up. People are still crafting that thing. The crowd pummeler, say what you like about the design of it. Say what you like about the fact that there's multiple reskins of it. It's still a 1.5 million gold mount that will have some air of prestige about it just because it shows you either got a big credit card or you know how to make gold. I think as mounts go, it's pretty average, but you can't argue the cost it takes to make it or to buy it or to own it. And so people will still craft it and will still sell it forever and a day. So knowing how to get them and the maths that goes behind it, doing it now whilst all the materials are readily available and the data's easy to come by, it's probably smart. I just haven't got around to it yet. Hello? Decorative lenses at quality 2? Who stole this? There's 10 decorative lenses on the EU. Oh, that's hysterical. Oh, Lord. Markets are bonkers right now. Somebody's just gone, you know what? We'll have all of them. Markets are absolutely cuckoo crazy at the moment. Will the value of the tokens go up in gold at the beginning of the next patch? I wouldn't rely on it, no. Speculation around the token value these days is much of a muchness. It might... The token might dip a very small amount, but I really don't think it's going anywhere. Not anywhere significant, not anywhere that's worth worrying about anyway. There just doesn't tend to be enough hype around the patches, or there doesn't seem to be enough hype around this patch in general for it to have much of an effect on the token price. Oh, what is the token these at the moment? Are we still hovering around 370,000 gold? $365. Yeah, I don't think it's really going to move all that much. Throughout the expansion, it tends to steadily rise. That said, though, I suppose we had weird shenanigans going on with the long boy being in the auction house, didn't we? That kind of screwed with the data a lot, but as long as it stays under 400k, there's this kind of weird psychological barrier about it crossing 400k, I think. That means that kind of like, soon as it goes, you know, as soon as people have to shell out 400,000 gold instead of it beginning with a 3, I don't know. I'm sure there's some psychology in it, but I think it's probably not going to move all that much. Wow, that's big stinky. Big stinky. Not really going to be doing any of those. No work orders today. It's because it's all flipping flasks. Jesus. Everyone is flasks with no materials. Okay. Anything worth crafting? Rank 1, Harmonious Horticulture, has been reset to 1,000 gold apiece. Okay. I mean, for shits and giggles, why not? For shits and giggles. Petal Powder is cash money at rank 2, only on the basis of the fact that there's a reset on that currently at the moment. Make a few of those. Everything else is looking to be a struggle. These have also had a reset. I would imagine by the time we come to sell them, they might not be all that great. Flask of Tempered Verse, if you can do them at Q1. That's because the Q1 price has gone loopy as well. And nothing of much other interest. We'll have a look at Thaumaturgy in a minute. That's probably where we're likely to squeeze some cash money out of alchemy, if any. Wait, it can't still be decorative lenses. Wait, hang on. Did I not press the button? Create shopping list. There we go. How much would you value the patron bags at? I wouldn't value them. I would consider them nothing more than a bonus. If you get them, consider them free mats that you can put towards other stuff. I wouldn't try and assign a value to them. We had this discussion earlier in stream. Some people have tried to put some data to it, but the reality is right now, these days, the numbers, A, very small. They're probably only worth an average of about 20 to 30 gold a piece. But the variance in how much you get out of them is massive. Like, you might get 2 gold worth of shit out of them one day. You might get, you know, if you get lucky and get a null stone or something, you might get 200 gold out of them. But the reality is they're worth basically nothing. So I wouldn't actually assign a value to them. I would just consider it a bonus that you get them. Is my take, at least. Should probably make these ones in the first place. Right, we'll get these things crafted and get these up on the auction house. Then I'll switch over to the thaumaturgy build and see if there's any cash monies there. I'm not expecting there to be, with all the materials being so wild at the moment, but we might catch it at the right time. That's pretty much, you're kind of mostly not even day trading with thaumaturgy these days. You're literally hour trading. You're permanently just trying to find that one scenario where a material has been reset so that you can shuffle a bunch of materials into it and you know, take a slice of the pie. What's going on with the cloth on EU? Most things are just all over the place in terms of prices right now. Most things going up because everybody's starting to stock up for the next patch. It's literally basically every mat. It's not exclusive to just cloth. I mean, if you look at cloth, yeah, look at the green values in market value, right? Look at the trend up, right? All three ranks of Dawnweave are up more than 50%. And look at the amount available. There's like nothing there. There's like actually nothing there. These are numbers that are very scary to see because it just doesn't exist, right? These materials just don't exist. Or they might exist, but they're in somebody's mailbox or they're in somebody's bank, right? Which is hence why all of these materials are up massively in the last couple of weeks. They just don't exist. The fact that these numbers are so low, and it's on a region-wide scale, is pretty mental. If you go back, it's difficult to like look back at this, but if you go back to before everything was region-wide, to like mid part of Shadowlands, there would be 1 million plus of basically every single material on nearly every single server. Now we see, like, there's not a single piece of cloth where there's more than 100,000 of it listed on the auction house at any one point, which is like, that's the supply, that's the stock for the whole region right now. The whole region. And it's wild. It's wild how small these numbers are. That core materials, Dawnweave, Duskweave, just fundamentally don't exist. It's pretty bonkers. It's pretty bonkers how small the quantities are for all of this sort of stuff. With it being, you know, this is the entire region supply. Weaver cloth, quality 3. The entire region supply. You can see what's happening, right? Every once in a while, somebody comes along, they take 1 million gold to buy... 1 million gold to buy out the entire region, right? Not just one server. Somebody's like, you know what? I want all of the Weaver cloth. It's 1 million gold. Fucking pocket change to most, like, serious goblins. So, yeah, it's just a bit wild at the moment. Nobody's farming it. It's quite simple. Nobody's farming it. We saw this with the price of, like... We saw this with the price of... we were looking at it earlier, weren't we? Like, leyline residue, which predominantly comes from herbalism and mining. Nobody's herbing and mining. And so there isn't any of it. And it's steadily been rising in price. It's, yeah, it's... just quite simple. Either nobody's farming it or nobody's selling it are the two primary suspects here. Plus, anybody that's looking to stock up can come along with pocket change amounts of gold for many, and just buy the entire region, buy the entire lot. Dawnweave bolts. Dawnweave bolts. There's less than 6,000 of them in the entire region right now for sale. What? Like, it's crazy low quantities. I don't really understand. It's clearly, to me, that there's a lot of people that have been crafting these with their concentration, with their cooldowns for days and days and days, weeks and weeks and weeks at this point, and probably haven't been listing them, and they're just all sat in their bags waiting for the patch, and then boom. This is the weirdest time for materials, because the people that know what they're doing are actually selling their materials right now, because the supply coming into the market on some stuff is wildly low. I don't know why. Weird take on this is that nobody is actually farming in most of the mats on the auction house, are probably from alchemists. Well, funny you say that. If we switch over to our thaumaturgy build, I can put some science behind that. Is anything worth running through the alchemy mill right now? Not really. I mean, there's a few thousand, but once again, not really. I mean, 50k is not going to make a huge difference to anybody, is it? 50k of Blessing Blossom isn't going to get you very far. Where's me bountiful potion? Or have I gone and flipping sold them all? That's probably what I've accidentally done, haven't it? I've probably accidentally sold them all. Yeah, I've flipping listed half of them on the auction house. Where did it go? There it is. Let this run for a bit, see what happens. But yeah, it's kind of just a very, very weird time for mats in general. Combination of like, and nothing feels natural. That's the thing, right? Nothing at the moment feels natural with the market. Everything feels like people are buying stuff not to use it now, but to store it for later. Or players similar to myself have bought a bunch of stuff many weeks ago when it was cheap, and they're now selling out. So the demand, the supply coming to the market is not fresh supply. It's not stuff that has recently been farmed. It's not your average guy running around picking up herbs or ore. It's people that like bought 6 weeks ago and are selling it now for like 50%, 100% profits in some cases. It's kind of weird. It's all a little bit all over the place. Things always go a touch crazy like around a patch. It's weird though how it's getting more crazy before the patch even launches than it ever used to. So we'll see what we get from this little batch of Blessing Blossom. We only spent 50k on it. This number never goes green until you smush all of the thematogens you get anyway. And you make your, what do you call them? Blasphemites. Right, quick toilet break, back in 2. Alright, we got about 4 minutes left on processing this stuff. Plus rerunning through anything that's worth rerunning through. Probably the Wrath's Spear that's actually worth in this. Would be my guesstimation. Yeah, this stuff's up in value right now. Which is where the money's coming from, I'd guess. If I was to hazard a guess, if I was a betting man. There's a strong chance that the Storm Charge leather is actually just potentially even worth running through the mill again, although not really. If it actually sells for 8 gold 16 right now, it's probably not worth running through the mill again. It's probably worth just selling even this out. Crazy Bear, how we doing? Welcome in. Welcome. Where's the Iron Claw ore? Here. Yeah, even Iron Claw ore is over 9 gold right now, as opposed to its average price of about 8 gold. Now my data's over an hour old, which is always risky, but as long as this number doesn't get too red, we can then smush all of the other stuff and turn it green quite easily, I reckon. Iron Claw's a loss to filter it, but Storm Charge seems to be worth a little. We'll see. I don't think we got too much Blessing Blossom left. Stack and a half of Blessing Blossom left. This is one of those scenarios where I could probably, or if I was more serious about this, would probably put this Alchemist on just its own separate account and just have it kind of running 12 hours a day, just processing something. Even if, you know, you then, because the natural flow of the value of materials means that the longer you are actually spending just breaking down materials into others, if you're posting those other materials at like 15% more than what they're currently worth right now, at the moment you almost can't lose, because like we said, the materials have actually been steadily rising in price, and that's the exact scenario you want for thaumaturgy. You want the prices to be rising, because it means any processing you do now, if you post those materials for 10-15% more than what they're currently selling for, in 48 hours time they'll have still all sold because the prices are rising. And so you utilize the processing time right now to not necessarily, you need, you know, reasonably big pockets of gold to buy the materials up front. But it's actually the processing time that's more of a thing. Right, so if now we take our Mercurials, smush those up. Never enough real estate on my screen. Take the Ominous, smush them up. Keep smushing these things until they don't exist. This number should slowly now creep up. It probably won't be until we make the Blasphemites it goes positive, but it's on the rise. This is why actually calculating thaumaturgy, or like, should I say, simulating thaumaturgy, can be quite difficult, because the bigger the scale you do it at, the more times you get to run these mats through the mill. I don't know why Craft Sim is so perfectly accurately a set distance out. I don't know what causes that. I don't know what the maths is that Craft Sim uses to so accurately predict it, but just like 115 gold off. Like, there's got to be some knob somewhere that's tuned slightly wrong. The maths behind this is not straightforward, though. I thaumaturgized about 300k mats about 2 months ago, so now I'm seeing a lot of green numbers. Yeah. My tactic was more to just resell the mats, though, rather than smush them all back in the day. Which is equally what you could be doing now. Just riding the wave up. Right, we're nearly at the point where there's nothing else to smush. Right, yeah, we haven't got 20 of any of them, so we're done smushing those. We've already technically broken even just processing the materials. So it's our blasphemites that then make the money. Our gleaming transmutagens is where the money actually comes in. And there we go. It's not great. What did we spend? 50k for potentially 2.5k profit? It's not great, is it? Plus the 10 minutes it took me to do it. 10 minutes or so to do it, 2,500 gold by doing it is really not great. But if we then listed all of these items at like 110% of what they're currently listed for, we'd do better. So yeah, even in these weird and wacky, even when it's weird and wacky, you kind of, it can be difficult. If I then switch back with TSM just real quickly. No. If we put this back to my regular profile and then do a quick reload. See what the value of those mats end up being. Oh, I've got a bunch of other stuff already on the auction house, haven't I? Alright, let me pay attention to how much I've already got listed. Take that number off the total in a minute. I've already got 71,000 gold worth of stuff on the auction house, so remember that number. I only really want to post stuff that would have come from that little blast. So not you, not you. So we went from 71 up to 248. That seems unrealistic. That seems very unrealistic. And that's without actually even listing the blasphemites. Why didn't these sell? Why didn't those go? 214. Well, we can come back to that in a bit and see what's sold. I'm not going to mess about cancel scanning, that sort of stuff. That's crazy talk. I wish there was something we could do with core weight catalysts. I feel kind of bad. We're going to end up just like selling them for 50 gold a stack. It's not even 500k to reset rank 3 lenses. I mean, crafted stuff I wouldn't be looking at resetting, but like there's some weird and wacky stuff going on, that's for sure. Even outside the realms of my scope of understanding, if I'm honest. Have we got more up-to-date data now? 1 hour, 18 minutes ago. Why is my TSM not updating? We should have newer data than that. Or maybe we just don't. No, still 1 hour, 18 minutes ago. Okay then. I don't know why we don't have more up-to-date prices. Right. I think, boys and girls, I might leave it there for today. We're yeah, we're in a weird sort of phase at the moment. A weird phase where things are just a little bit loopy-doopy all over the place. If you have a stack of stuff just lying around, it's worth digging it out and checking if the value of it's gone up, because prices are just mental right now. If you had bought stuff 4 to 6 weeks ago, you're probably way in the money right now. And, you know, it's kind of up to you whether you sell it now for a big profit or risk the patch landing and everything crashing. Or, you know, you could wait longer if you wish. It's kind of your call. But I tend to live by the theory that if you can start making 50% plus profit, you should absolutely be taking it. Even crafted stuff, even if you've been saving your concentration crafted stuff for a while, which I know has been quite popular to do, consider getting some of it sold, because it's stuff's moving. Stuff's moving. People are out there buying stuff. Content creators are out there telling people now's the time to buy stuff because it's cheap. You know, use your knowledge to your advantage. Use your knowledge to your advantage. I'm going to call it there. We'll be back tomorrow. It's obviously reset day tomorrow, the last reset before 11.1. I haven't actually assigned a day to do this, but we will spend a day on the PTR at some point to be able to just get a finalization on exactly what's happening. I might have a little poke around later just to see if I can clarify in a bit more detail on this this crest business, or at least have a little bit of a look through some of the professions to see if there's anything else I can spot that might not have been obvious. But I doubt it, is the honest answer. I doubt it. 11.1 is a bit underwhelming for like true goblins. Even though it's a goblin themed patch, it's a bit odd. But thank you all for coming. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. We'll be back tomorrow. Yeah. Yeah, enjoy the rest of your day. The TSM groups are finished now, by the way. I should mention this just quickly before I go. If you do use TSM for posting stuff on the auction house, my profile and the groups are now finished. They're all neatly organised. Even cooking. You can find links to these in the Discord as well, so come jump over there, and you can import these groups nice and easily. But boys and girls, enjoy the rest of your day. I'll catch you tomorrow. Peace.